This episode of Marijuana Today Daily is brought to you by our friends over at Ease, California's top one-stop website for legal marijuana delivery. If you want top quality legal cannabis products that are properly tested, labeled, and packaged, brought right to your door in less than an hour, and you live in a part of California where Ease is active, you can just open up ease.com to get your order in, assuming it's during the hours where legal marijuana delivery is allowed. That's because following all relevant state cannabis laws and regulations is just how Ease rolls. Ease's customers benefit from that because of the higher quality standards and customer experience enjoyed by everyone who places an order through ease.com. Spelled E-A-Z-E. From basic flower to pre-rolls and from edibles to concentrates, when you want top quality legal marijuana products delivered to you in California, you just need to start by opening up ease.com. Good morning, Marijuana Nation. It's Monday, August 20th, 2018, and you're tuned in to episode 553 of Marijuana Today Daily. I'm your host, Shay Gunther, and I'll be walking you through today's marijuana news and headlines. As always, we have a full and busy day of cannabis news in our hands, so let's jump right into it. Our top story as we kick off Monday and the week is news of a newly introduced bill in the U.S. Senate that would remove a question on the form used to apply for federal financial student aid, asking if applicants have been convicted of a drug-related felony. Filed on Friday by New Jersey Senator Cory, the Simplifying Financial Aid for Students Act would not only strip that question about drugs from the FAFSA form, but would also, as you might have guessed, make the entire process of applying for student financial aid easier. But it's that drug-related question that's grabbed today's top spot, if only for its historic importance. I am 40 years old. I started the first chapter of Students for Sensible Drug Policy when I was a 19-year-old sophomore at the Rochester Institute of Technology back in 1997. It was the following year in 1998 that the federal government first started denying students educational funding for being convicted of drug-related criminal offenses. This frankly bullshit law has been both a thorn and a catalyst for change within the student drug reform movement, and I, for one, have all my fingers crossed that Senator Booker's bill finds its way to passage. Swing over to Marijuana Moment for a deeper read on this one. Hopping down to Oklahoma, we have news of the resignation of Isaac Cavanis, president of Green the Vote, the activist group that's been working to land pro-cannabis ballot measures on the November Oklahoma ballot. You likely remember this group for the recent headlines it made after admitting to lying about the number of signatures of support it had collected for two proposed ballot measures, one to legalize adult use and another to push for more advances in medical marijuana. President Cavanis, who took the lead in both the deception about the signature count and the video fessing up to the ruse, announced his resignation on Sunday and said that he wasn't being forced out, but rather wanted to spend more time with his family. Ohio is a few steps closer to rolling out its new medical marijuana program as state officials just gave provisional licenses to two new medical marijuana processing companies and two testing labs. Ohio originally sought to launch its new program in September, but delays in issuing licenses have pushed that back by a number of months. With the 4 new licenses just granted, Ohio now has 9 licensed processors and 4 testing labs, in addition to the 3 licensed cultivators who have been just recently given the green light to start growing. Those are our top stories for today. It's time for Marijuana Today Daily Headlines Blitz. Before we blitz out on headlines, let's quickly thank our sponsor, Ease.com, California's top one-stop website for legal marijuana delivery. Ease.com, spelled E-A-Z-E, is, of course, where you can go to place an order for legal California marijuana products for delivery, but it's also a fantastic place to go for valuable bits of industry insight and analysis developed by the editorial and analytical team over at Ease. Ease is sitting on a very large sales data pipe, which they properly aggregate and anonymize before setting their writing and number wizards free on it, who parse out information, knowledge, and wisdom to be shared up at ease.com/home. If you could benefit from having a better understanding of cannabis consumers, then you really need to check out all that's up for offer over at ease.com/home. Big thanks to everyone over at Ease for all the support. All right, time for the blitz. California state lawmakers have killed plans, at least for now, to form a state-chartered bank to handle business banking services for its legal marijuana industry. after a legislative analysis was conducted that warned, among other things, that pooling marijuana businesses together under one bank could invite attacks by federal officials attracted by the easy target. The Portland Press-Herald put together a good longer-form story looking at Maine medical marijuana and the unique security challenges the players within the industry face. And when I say unique, I mean outside of cannabis, as many of the security issues being dealt with by Maine marijuana entrepreneurs, cultivators, processors, and dispensers are ones that pop up wherever cannabis is legal. A good one to read in full, no matter where you live. A survey out of Massachusetts suggests that a large number of people who use cannabis do so to cut down on the amount of prescription drugs they need to take. The online survey has had more than 600 respondents so far after starting up in June and is being conducted out of the University of Massachusetts in Dartmouth. Though the survey will be kept up through 2019, preliminary results will be collected over the next few days for a presentation to be given on August 23rd. So if you'd like to add your feedback to the survey, you can find a link over at Mass Live. Janet Burns over at Forbes has a good story up looking at the business and science of biological pesticides, which has seen a boost in interest over the last few years as cannabis cultivators have started looking for ways to grow their marijuana more organically. This has coincided with a parallel rise in organic foods in general and is one of those things that you probably should have some working level of familiarity with. I'd add this one to your to-read list today. The beverage blog Neat Pour picked up on an interesting news item from last week involving alcohol giant Constellation Brands, which made big splashes in cannabis for its $3.8 billion investment in Canadian marijuana company Canopy Growth. The news that Neat Pour picked up on was the layoff of an entire division at Constellation Brands dedicated to the sale of craft beer. Around 60 members of the sales team that sold Constellation craft beer were told during a conference call last week that they were being laid off. That's not directly connected to the cannabis deal, but is at least a notable development. Denver Westword does the world a good turn and parses through some of the deceptive use of statistics by prohibitionist groups in Colorado, led by the National Smarter Approaches to Marijuana and its leader Kevin Sabet, who's yet to meet a good cherry-picked stat that he won't use to further his failed vision. Prohibitionists seized on some stats involving driving under the influence of marijuana to grossly oversell the proposition that marijuana is causing havoc on the roads, even though it's not. And wrapping up today's news is Marijuana Moment's Kyle Yeager, who picked up on news out of Colorado about a cake decorator made infamous for his bigoted decision in 2012 to not make a wedding cake for a same-sex couple, who is now complaining that all his customers want him to make them cakes with decorations involving devils and cannabis. Jack Phillips, the bigoted master cake decorator, is now suing a raft of Colorado state officials, saying that his religious sensibilities are also bruised by any references to drugs. This is one you just gotta read. Those are the headlines and news for the day. I'll be back with you again tomorrow morning with another information-packed episode of Marijuana Today Daily. But in the meantime, if you have any stories to share or feedback to give, zip us an email to headlines@mjtodaydaily.com. And while you're clicking around the interwebs, swing over to our Twitter account at MJ Today Daily and visit our website at mjtodaydaily.com to find links to all the news we cover. Thanks to our sponsor, Ease, and to all of our awesome patron listeners for the support that makes this show possible. To join the illustrious ranks of the patron listeners yourself, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com and click on that big blue button at the top of the page that says Become a Patron. I'm your host, Shay Gunther. Thanks for tuning in, starting your day with marijuana today.
One take, Shay. One take.